Okay, we are recording.
All right, buddy. Welcome to another edition of Blend Blazers podcast with your host, Rashaad Rice. And I feel like I almost got tongue tied on that. Blend Blazers podcast with your host, Rashaad Rice. And today we are staying in the fashion space. So listen, I know we did an interview with Murph, and me and Kyle was laughing because it really wasn't an interview about fashion. So technically, this is my first time doing fashion in this particular season, so I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to shift it over to my guest for him to introduce himself and tell you about him. So take it away.
Awesome. My name is Rashaad. I am a fashion designer and owner of a nonprofit here in Atlanta, Georgia. I also founded the Atlanta Art Awards to bring awareness to emerging talent in Atlanta, as well as the BURGHALIE Resort Fashion Competition to provide funding for up-and-coming designers.
He went into everything he was not supposed to go into just yet, but it's
Oh,
fine.
my bad.
He don't went into everything he was really not supposed to go in this early. It's fine. BURGHALIE, where did that come from? I'm just curious. It's catchy, and you actually can pronounce it the way it's spelled. Because normally I look at something, I'm just like, is that burlap? Or it actually looks the way it sounds. Where did you get that name from?
So when I decided to start a clothing brand in college, I knew we wanted to do something like urban. So the first name we thought of was like Urban Ensemble. And then I was like, just Urban and Urban Outfitters is just like too similar. So I was like, okay, when it does blow up, I don't want it to be compared. So I started looking up different words for urban in like different languages. And we found a burgle, which is the Scottish suburbs or like the urban area
I
in
thought you
Scotland.
said bagel. I was about to say, why would you name your line bagel? But it probably could have worked. It probably could have worked.
It still rolls off the tongue.
Literally,
too.
bagel. it could have worked. The name of my line is bagel. I could have seen that.
I could see that too. No, honestly. so then when I saw Burgle, I was like, this is like weird, unique, but I like it. Like it's weird, but I like it. So we started playing with it, trying to make it sound, more like fancy or luxury. And then we just thought BURGHALIE. And it's like, that's really unique. And
Wait, what language? Because you said y'all looked in different language. What language was that?
so Burgle is Scottish a language?
Let me send that to the research team and they'll get back to us.
I guess
What do they speak in Scotland?
I feel like they speak English. Scottish. I think it's Scottish. That's a language?
That can't be the name of the language.
No. That's
Okay.
a nationality.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
yeah.
a nationality.
Well, the language that they speak in the culture of Scotland, they have burgles, which are urban areas in Scotland. I don't know where the word derived from, but
So for your homework, you have to go to Scotland
Yeah.
and find out all about this and then come back, revisit, and let me know how that looks. Because
I
urban and Scotland just don't seem like they go together. Like I would love to see an urban area in Scotland. To all my Scotland friends, send me pictures. I would love to see these things because I just would never thought about it. So y'all came up with that from that particular word.
yeah, and then we just kind of stuck with it. And then I think it's spelt similar to how we have it, but people kept calling it like BURGHALIE. They kept reading like BURGHALIE, I guess because the G and the H. I really don't know. So we added like an accent over the A, so maybe they'll like, see it and be like, it's not read exactly like that.
You do realize the only people that really recognize apostrophes and stuff is us. We're the only people that will utilize them and actually acknowledge their presence.
No, honestly.
So, yeah, I don't think that. Did it help?
It didn't.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
I don't
people
think it
still-
helps. We're the only people that acknowledge apostrophes in names.
Yeah. So I was like, but that's how that started. So I like it. I don't feel like it's like anything else. And since we made it, we kind of like gave it its own meaning and stuff too. So that's pretty dope. I like that.
All right, so I read your bio, and like I told you, I feel like it's a male Cinderella type thing. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Where are you from, and the dynamic of your home life?
So I'm from a small town called Boston, Georgia, which is right by Thomasville, Georgia. It's like maybe like 5-10 minutes away.
Where is Thomasville exactly? I've heard of it, but I don't know exactly where it is.
It's like really south, really close to Florida, like maybe like 45, 30 minutes away from Tallahassee.
What's the nearest thing to it that anybody might actually recognize? Like the nearest city.
Valdosta.
Okay, I can get there.
Or Albany. I think Albany's like.
Is it like in that Statesboro space?
No, it's way further than that.
I'm trying to think. Vidalia. When I pass, what is that? 675.
That's out closer to Valdosta. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, that's the one where you have to go through Forsyth and all that. Is it out that way?
Nah, further like it's like in the middle-ish.
Okay, this sounds like Narnia. So I don't. This sounds like Narnia. So
it's nothing there. They have no like attractions. It's very like small town. It's like what you see in the movies when you see like a small town. Everybody know everybody. That's like.
Oh, it sounds like South Carolina where I'm from. I'm from like one stop like cow tipping, deer hunting.
Like one. That's why like Boston didn't really have a school or like any type of grocery store. So we had to. Everybody in the small towns came to Thomasville to go to school and like grocery shop and work and different stuff like that.
That's concerning when your nearest town is Thomasville. That is slightly concerning.
Yeah, that was our metropolitan city.
Yeah, and to Atlanteans, it's like, what? Where's Thomasville?
Exactly.
Where is Thomasville exactly? Okay, I digress.
Yeah, so I'm from Boston / Thomasville. My family's actually from Atlanta, but they moved here shortly before I was born due to my brother and I are like complete opposites. Like he's been in and out of jail and like he has some other challenges.
So it's the two of y'all. It's just two of y'all. Is he older or younger?
He's older. He's 8 years older than me. So
you're still a baby. So that would make him what, 31, 32-ish.
Yeah.
Tell everybody how old you are.
Okay, I'm 25. I'm 25. I'll be 26 in July though, so you know.
I love the emphasis like that makes you a full-fledged 30-year-old. Like I'll be 26 in July.
I'm pushing 30.
Wow. We're gonna move along. Me and Kyle are giving each other looks like, is he serious? He's serious. He's serious. Okay, I digress again. Okay.
But yeah, they relocated to Thomasville because like my brother, like I said, my family's from Atlanta, and with my brother, they felt like Atlanta was the environment that played the role in how he turned out. Because they from Bankhead, so yeah, so we relocated to Thomasville, and then within like 5 years of me being born, my mom left my dad because he was cheating on her consistently.
So the beginning of the side piece area type things. I mean,
but they was married though, so I don't know, but it was just they've told me like a lot of stories. So when my mom left, she tried to take me with her, because she really didn't have anything. She went to stay with my granddad. So then I went with her and my granddad, but then my granddad like didn't want us there, and then he would like try to make her pay. You know, like she just left her husband. And she has nothing. Like you're the only person she has down here. Because like I said, all my family's in Atlanta. We were in Thomasville, and he was trying to make her like pay her to stay there, even though she was making like $6 an hour at the time. And
that used to be a thing. The thought that people used to make $6 an hour.
It was crazy. So he was just saying he didn't want anybody sleeping on his sofa, messing up the couch, and all this other stuff.
That sounds like a friend. That doesn't sound like a father. Like a friend would say that to you. Like, you've been on my couch for 2 years. It's time to move. Like, So she took you and your brother, or just you?
She took me, because I was the baby. My brother was maybe like a teenager. So I guess I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question. I don't know why she didn't take him too.
So she left him with your father?
Mm-hmm. And then literally like weeks later, I had to come back because my granddad didn't want me to be there. And it was like, he was basically like, it's either you or him, not both of y'all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does your mom have siblings, or is it just her?
She has one brother too. Yeah.
Was he living there too?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, there's no logic. I was trying to find a logic.
There is that we don't really have a good relationship. And I've forgiven him, but it's just more so of like, this was the time that your daughter needed you the most, in my opinion. And it wasn't much that she was asking for, just like a place to lay her head and keep her son until she got on her feet. And within like weeks, like she had to decide if it was going to be one of us or just go on the streets or a shelter. I don't really know like what the other options was. So yeah.
So she sent you back to your father?
Yeah, she sent me back to my dad because they had a house together, but it was in his name. And then he was working. I think he was making a little more than her at the time. So yeah, she was like that. He had a car, she didn't. So at the time, she was like, "This is what's best for you." I didn't want to go. Like I was crying and everything. I remember.
Imagine like boys and their mothers. It's that whole thing. So what was life when you got back to your father and your brother?
Well, my brother ran away like 2 years later.
Ooh. There's that.
Yeah, because my dad at the time, he's grown a lot and we're still like working on our relationship. But at the time, he was just like a completely different person. Like he was a recovering alcoholic. So he was, according to my mom and my brother, he was still drinking when I was younger. But as far as I can remember, I can't say I've actually seen him like drinking. I've seen him hanging around the people that drink, or like sitting around the barrel. I don't know if y'all do that up here, like sitting around the barrel. Drinking.
Oh, I'm from South Carolina. We still do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Inferno going in a barrel and everybody's...
Exactly. So I've seen that, but I haven't seen him do anything. But he was very like, to me, like emotionally unstable, but from... I don't want this to sound sexist, but like a male's perspective. So like typically, you know, with females, it's like they make it seem like you're so emotional and just distraught and crying. He was more emotionally unstable, as in like very angry about like everything. Yeah, so I got like me and my brother got like the back end of that, which is why he ran away, because he didn't want to be in the house.
So it's like borderline abuse type thing, like,
yeah,
or the overly macho black male punching you in the chest, stuff like that.
Yeah, it would be like stuff like that. I would honestly say it was more so because we got whooping, so I'm not gonna call that abuse.
Yeah, that's not because there's still things.
Everybody, well, I ain't gonna say that, but yeah, we got a whoopings. It wasn't abuse. It was more so of like the mental and verbal. And then it would be times where I would be like, okay, like I don't want to be here. I want to go with my mom. And he would tell me like, oh, your mom don't love you. Like that's why she left you. You always trying to run to your mom. And then like you can forgive her for leaving you, but you can't forgive me for blah, 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 blah. You know, and always trying to paint that narrative. And he would talk about her like a dog. And every time I went to my mom's house, what she would say, like, she never said anything bad about him. It was always like, okay, well, that's your dad. Like, maybe he did that because blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you left her with nothing and she still will not talk bad about you to your kids versus like, you're in the wrong, and then you still trying to dog her out, and y'all not even together.
I think it's a class thing. Women tend to do that. Like, it could be, even if you watch the whole Ike and Tina thing, Tina very rarely has anything bad to say about Ike. Yeah. She'll tell the truth, but to anything outside that, she really won't say much. I think it's just a class thing with black women. They're just like that, which is appreciative. I appreciate it. I
appreciate it too.
You know,
because I feel like that did play a role in our relationship growing up. Well, like just now that I've gotten older, because now that I know more about people and like just different types of people, it's like I can see that for myself now, that I can really say she's never said anything bad about you, but like you've always said bad stuff about her. And it was even like, I remember one time my mom, she felt bad because he's always trying to paint her out to be this horrible woman. And she like gave me some money one time just to, you know, have, because she's not there. She just wanted to do something. So she gave me some money, and I never got money from nobody before. So I was like, oh, I got money. So I came to my dad, it's like $100. He was like, oh, what's this? I was like, it's money. He was like, where'd you get it from? I was like, oh, my mom gave it to me. And then he was like, when? No, asking all these questions, blah, blah, blah. So then I guess he reached out to her and was basically, according to her and other family members, trying to like bribe her in a sense of like, oh, if this is like child support, so you're giving child support now. So if you like come back home, then you know you could just put that money in the house. But like if you don't, then I'm gonna have to put you on child support and like just stuff like that. But she didn't come back.
I was about to say, I don't think that's enough to make somebody come back.
And then she ended up putting him on child support. I mean, he put her on child support.
Really?
Now, when do you hear of like, it's not funny, but like when you hear of like a male putting a woman on child support, not even because you needed it, because
spite.
Just out of spite. He was doing like so many things to try to like just intentionally hurt her, and I feel like that's something that I probably haven't forgiven him for.
I mean, that's okay. So when he got child support, he had you, but did he also have your brother, or your brother had already run away? So it was just you.
Me. Yeah, and I never saw it, and I would like ask. I mean, I guess it was for bills and stuff like that. But I would ask, I'm like, okay, my mom gave me this money to just have to do, whatever I want to do. I'm a kid. Like, let me just do whatever, buy toys or whatever. And he's like, oh, no, I got to pay for this bill. I got to pay for that. Negro, you was paying for it before. You was paying for it before.
He legally got a child support order?
Yeah. He, like, and she was, according to my mom, too, it's like, it was like, threatening her to like come back, or like he would be like, once she got on child support, it was like, okay, well, if you give me a little something, then maybe I could go to the
It's the shoulder for me if you give me a little something.
I gotta set the tone, let you know what I'm talking about. That he could go to the courthouse and take the child support off, and she wouldn't do it.
So we're talking about like around 2010, 2011 ish, right?
Like, nah, because that's when he met my stepmom. We talking about like 2005.
That's interesting. Men getting child support for kids really didn't become a thing until maybe recently, like maybe 2017, 2018. So I'm surprised he was able to get that with one child that's run away and only having one child. That's amazing. He was able to pull that off. Your father must be a well-connected man on the low, because I don't see any judge pre-2017 freely say, yeah, you have one runaway and you have one other child. So yeah, we'll give you child support. Your father might have ties with the mob. I'm just saying. All right, so let's fast forward. So you're back with your father, your other brothers run away, and eventually you run away. Or you leave.
Yeah, so he ended up, so after my mom, he had like a few different women. No, I'm lying. No, am I?
We cannot confirm nor deny whatever you come up with.
So I don't know what happened, I'm not going to say what happened between him and his current wife, but he then like met another woman. They got married within like 2 months of knowing each other.
Love at first sight, bro.
So she is from Louisiana. During Hurricane Katrina, when they were evacuating, the only hotel that was from Louisiana all the way to, the nearest hotel that had availability due to the evacuation was in Thomasville. So she came like all the way from Louisiana to Thomasville. Yeah. So according to him, that was God.
I mean, I could get there. I'm not even going to front. I was like, that was mighty convenient that she ended up in Thomasville. You got to give him some. Come on, Rashaad.
I mean, it sounds.
You got to give him something on that one. I can't even fight for that one.
It sounded cute at first. Yeah. So they said that. I mean, because maybe y'all was meant to meet, but maybe that didn't mean y'all supposed to be together. But
that's
true. Not my business. So yeah, they met and they got married like 2 months after meeting each other because they thought it was God's destiny. And they got together. And at first, it was okay. It wasn't bad. I was like the only child, and she had kids too. She was bringing 3 kids into the house. Yeah.
Okay. What ages?
3 girls. One is older than me, but not as old as my brother. Maybe like 4 years older than me. The other 2 were like maybe 6 and 8 years younger than me.
Oh, these are not like children. These are like okay.
Yeah. So at first it was cool, and then I will admit that I'm adult enough to admit that I was not the nicest to them, because even though my dad was a butthole, he was like the only thing I really had. So to see them like come into the picture, and it's like these new girls calling my dad, like who, like what, like that's not your dad. Like, it's like, it was kind of, it's like, oh, you're gonna take away like the only thing that I have. So I wasn't the nicest to them. So I wasn't the nicest to them. But as far as the stepmom, I just felt like as a mother, regardless of like what I'm doing, it's kind of like your job. You can't be a kid. Like if you're a mom, you have to be the adult, and I'm a child. So I just feel like if I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, then your job as an adult is to correct that, or a mother is to say, hey, like, you know, you're doing this, or like this may be the reason why, whatever. Maybe you should do it like this. But it's like, you seen that thing where people be like, when they go low, we go high. But it's like when they go low, we go lower. Yeah.
You do realize that only a select class of people say we go lower. That really wasn't how that was designed.
Well, yeah, that's what they went lower.
They or you?
No, they did. So like I kind of was, you know, not the nicest.
I was about to say, because you keep stating that you're not the nicest. So did they go lower, or did y'all collectively go lower?
No, well, we collectively went lower, because when I went low, they went low. So I went lower and they went lower. So we just gonna be out both out here getting real low to the flow.
This sounds like a Little John song. I don't get low. I don't.
So yeah.
So this came to a head eventually.
Yeah, it came to a head, and it was. I guess the head of that would be, you know, it was just situations where like they would like cook and stuff, and like I wouldn't eat, so like we all like at a table like this, and they're eating and I'm just watching because it's like no food for me. Or they would like be writing their names on food to say like, you know, this is ours, and like whatever, not even whatever is yours, but like if y'all bought the food and y'all wrote your name on all of it, then clearly there's nothing for me. Yeah, so that kind of, no, not kind of, but that's what led me to like want to get my own job. I was really close with my school counselor. Like that's why I wanted to be a counselor initially, because she was the person that she didn't call defects, because I felt like that was something to call defects about. But she just kind of told me, you know, like you're getting older. Maybe it's time for you to start doing stuff on your own, and like, maybe since your home life isn't good, maybe you should try extracurricular stuff like soccer or like whatever, so that you're not home as much, or you don't have to deal with it as much. So I ended up getting my own job. And then when I got my own job, I was making my own money. I was having my own food, everything like that. And then one day they asked me to help them with a bill. I don't remember what the bill was. It was not cheap to me at the time. I think it was like $400. So I'm like, okay, boom, I'm gonna give it to you. You need it. And then the next month, they asked for money again. So I was like, get somebody else to do it.
Yeah, but they trying to make we fastly approaching you paying rent. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I'm still in school. Like I'm not.
But that's gonna be my next question. So how old are we talking about?
I was like 16. So I mean, okay, I do know this is like a common, but you have to also remember I had a stepsister that was older, and when she didn't have to get a job to help out with the house, or like she didn't have to give any of her money to like help y'all with things. So I don't know, but either way, that was when I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this, and I left.
What was the job? I'm just curious.
I was working at this restaurant called Chandler's. It's a local burger place. They didn't have no AC in there.
I lost a bit. I thought about sure you gonna say some chain like
yeah, no, it was
something.
Local. Yeah, it was called Chandler's, and it was a burger. They were known for like this burger called like a champ cheese, and we used to like make all the sauces. I was fine. I could do some on the grill, but that just was, I couldn't stay there. Like that wasn't the end goal. So yeah, I was making I remember I was making $7.25, and one day he gave me my check, and he was like, I got you a little something on there. So I'm looking up like, it looks the same. And he was like, I gave you a raise. I looked at
not the size.
I looked at the pay rate. You know what it said?
What?
$7.30.
I mean, the man gave you a nickel. He gave you a nickel.
Said, okay, I got a little 5-cent raise. But I'm just doing the math. I'm like, do you know how long it's going to take me to make an extra $1 on top of, you know how many hours I'm at to work? But actually, I appreciate it.
Actually, that $7.25 is still minimum wage today. So
really?
Yes. Technically on the books, $7.25 I think is still the actual going rate for Georgia.
I did not know that.
Yeah, on the books. Actually, I think it might be $5.15 in certain places. On the books. Now, people don't typically do, I take that back. Some people still are trying to do it. But on the books, I think it's $7.25.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hit segment number 2. So you do that, you eventually end up moving one of your coworkers, and somehow you transition here. How did you end up transitioning to Atlanta? Oh Lord, this is all right. You got like 4 minutes to sum this one up.
Okay.
So we can get another stuff. So you got 4 minutes to sum this up.
Okay, so I graduated high school and I went to college.
Where?
At Florida State in Tallahassee.
What were you majoring in?
Criminology and psychology.
Okay.
It wasn't the initial major. I wanted to be a doctor, but chemistry.
MCAT, chemistry.
Yeah.
Roadblocks.
So, so when I was in Tallahassee, I met this guy. And we were dating. And I did not know that he was crazy.
Okay, crazy has levels.
Okay, yeah, oh no, this is okay. So I'm not gonna go through every little incident. I'm gonna just say the stuff that made the person crazy. So after we stopped talking, I thought I saw somebody looking through my window. This
he's stalker crazy.
Yeah, this was the start. I thought I saw someone looking through my window, and I went outside. No one was there. But then the next day, he somehow got into my house and was trying to. I heard him trying to break through my actual room.
It's like one of them horror flicks.
Yeah. So that was the start of it. And then I was actually with someone at the time. Not with somebody, but I had somebody over. So it was this really awkward moment of
I mean, that could have turned dangerous actually.
Well, he's not like that. He just went outside and messed up my car. So he broke my mirrors off.
What? I am still trying to understand the reasoning behind vandalism.
I don't know.
You do realize that's a crime.
I know.
People are so easy to do it.
The police was I didn't see him do it. So I'm just assuming. I'm my car was fine. He came over. He got mad. He flipped over everything in the house and went outside. And now my car's messed up. It's but no one saw him do it. So I'm okay, boom, whatever.
So wait. So he actually got in the apartment when
you... I don't know how.
Well, how did that play out?
So... I mean,
well,
I was just you have to go. I was we're no longer together. You need to leave. He's
were you entertaining?
No, that's what everybody.
I mean, we have to ask these questions. No, were you entertaining when this happened?
All my life, I was not entertaining this man.
Okay, so so we got to paint this scene. So you sitting there with somebody. I'm assuming
in the bed,
and you wasn't entertaining?
No, because at first it was on my window. I heard knocks on my window. I was this is just crazy, boy. Yeah, so I'm just oh, it'll go away. So then he just kept knocking. And I was and the person was somebody at your window.
You just try to play it off I don't hear anything.
Oh, I was don't worry about it. It's fine. So then all of a sudden I heard knocks at the front door. I was oh my God. So then.
So you opened it or he just came in?
No, all of a sudden the knock stopped. So I thought he was gone. But that was him getting in the house.
So he just walked into the room.
I do not know how he got into my house. I think. Because I was in student housing, so I don't know.
There's 50,000 ways.
I don't know if my roommate let him in because they've seen him before and they probably didn't know or whatever. I don't know, but he got in the house, and then all of a sudden I hear my room door jingling, and it's I see a little knife trying to. I'm what's going on? So I just open the door. I'm what are you doing? It's oh, I miss you. Blah blah. I was we don't go together. You have to leave. And I kept reiterating that. I was oh, but I miss you. I miss you. I was I have someone over. You're out of your boundaries. You need to leave. And then I guess when I said that, that was the turning point. And he just started throwing stuff everywhere. And then he left, but then he messed up my car.
Actually, that's the lesser of two evils because he could have barged his way in and really gone left.
See, but he ain't never been yeah. Yeah, he knew to hit that car and not hit me. I'm gonna just say that. Yeah. So
okay.
So that was the start. Long story short, just a bunch of little situations like that. The head of all of that was I started actually dating someone, and he found that person's information, was contacting them, talking about me. But then he made a social dating account and was pretending to be me.
Oh.
And trying to he would pretend to be me, screenshot the messages, and then send it to the person I was talking to as if it was me. But when you screenshot your own messages, your messages are one color and the other person's messages are another. So from the perspective that he screenshotted it, you're screenshotting as if you have my phone, which means that you are sending these messages because.
This got very complicated really quickly.
Yeah, I know, no.
This got really quickly.
So that was one thing. So then I was okay, once I explained that to the person I was dating, he was okay, that makes sense. Unless he has your phone, it can't be you. And then it kind of died down. So I guess he had to take it up a notch. And then he was like, okay, well, I have your phone number. So I'm going to like send your number, like pretend to be you, say, oh, text me with your real number so that maybe he'll think it's you then. So then like random people are texting me. So then I was like, okay, he's just taking it up. And then he's like, okay, well, I know where you live. So I'm going to tell them come to your house.
Who is them?
Like random people on dating apps. Like I do not know he was using my pictures and sending my number. Like one day I was just at the house. I'm so serious. Like you think I'm joking. One day I was home. I'm looking on the Ring camera. I see a car pull up. So they just sitting. So I'm like, okay, I go get Tommy out the room because I don't know what's finna happen. He comes to the door. He knocks. So I open it and he's like, what's up? All smiling. So I'm like, hey. And then he's like, can I come in? I was like, who? I don't know who you are. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, we were just talking. I said, I have never seen you in my life. And then he pulls up the app and he has like a fake profile of me. He's like, this is you, right? Like, this is you. But the distance wasn't even like, you know how it has like distance? As the distance was like 2 miles away. I was like, that is not me. I said, that's my picture, but that is not me. But it seems like I'm lying because he sent them my address. So it's like, yeah. So,
okay, so ultimately in essence, you almost had to move. In theory.
Oh, well, I moved to different places in Tallahassee, but he kept finding out where I live. So he would just keep sending people like to my house. And then there was this big situation where like I was like, okay, I'm fed up. And me and all my brothers, like, we rode around like trying to find him. And then we went to his mama house. It got really good.
I must say, oh my God. So
we went to his mama house. It was like, look, like, where your son at? Like, we need to talk to him.
So basically, y'all did we call them black ops missions. Like
yeah.
we got the bats, we got we got whatever we re-up.
Because like it's getting a little out of hand at this point. Like you taking it a little too far. So I guess he's one of the people that got like 10 brothers and sisters. Oh. So I guess they felt disrespected that we came to his mom's house.
I mean that
so they pulled up to my house. And then it was this big scuffle in the road. I was like, this is too much. Like,
okay, we getting out of this. We getting out of this. All right,
it was too much. So at that point, I was like, yeah. I tried to talk to a counselor, and there was like the counselor. I said, I'm going to the police. I've made police reports. Nothing's happening. I've tried restraining orders. Nothing's happening. And they were like, the only reason that they're not doing anything is because she was a white woman. She said, it's because you're black and you're gay. She said, if you were a white woman or if you were a straight white male, this situation would have been handled the first time it happened. So I'm literally like here, like there's no help, there's no resources. Like I'm like, I have to leave before I shoot this man in his head. Like I'm really like about to kill this man. Like I literally was in the car crying. I'm like, I don't know what else to do other than go kill him because that's the only way to fix it. The police can't fix it. The counselor not helping. The city not doing nothing. My friends can't do nothing because no one's been in a situation like this. So I was like, I gotta go. So I went to New York shortly, too expensive. So then I moved to Atlanta because I have family here, and then I've been here ever since.
Okay, so how did we get into this designing space? How did we get there?
So like I said, in college, we started BURGHALIE, a roommate and Brandon, and then it started out as like a club for creatives. Like if you were a designer or a model, or photographer, like it was just like, a social
student
network.
Organization.
Yeah, okay. At the school. And then it just grew into the clothing brand. So I've been designing since then. We were just making like T-shirts, but then I saw like everybody, it was during that era where everybody all of a sudden started saying they had a clothing brand, but it was just slapping a logo on the Gildan shirt. So I was like, what can I do to be different? And then that's when I was like, okay, well, people ain't gonna try to learn how to sew. So then that's when I started sewing, and ever since then it's just been like developing over time.
So did you get like investors, or you just kind of like sold shirts out your trunk? Like how did you get this like really going?
So honestly, when I started doing it, I don't want to say it was for fun because it was a business, but I wasn't really concerned about the money. I was like, oh, if I make something, I make it. If I don't, I don't. As I got older and I started working, I was like, I'm paying for photo shoots, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for that, and like, it's no return on investment. So this has to be taken a little more serious. So I really started out by doing fashion shows because that's what, for me, and the formula that I have, that's what makes the most money for me. Like I think the highest I made from one show alone was like $45,000 off of a single fashion. Yeah.
Wait, shift it back. We're in the wrong line. We're meeting after this because we're in the wrong line of work. Wait, shift it. We're not going to breeze over that. Shift it back. We're not going to breeze over that. Okay, so give me an age. How old are you now?
I'm 25.
No, well, I mean, when you got here.
And when I got, 24.
Okay, so you're doing, we'll say like T-shirts and stuff, and then you decide to kick it up.
Yeah.
How did you do your first fashion show? Like, what was that? Because you were just up and like, I'm gonna do a fashion show and make $45,000. How did we get there? Like, how did that happen?
So I was in Tallahassee at the time, and they had these two modeling organizations called Faces and Images. They were like student-based fashion organizations, and they had fashion shows all the time. And I realized, like, when they had the fashion shows, it was clothes that they bought from the store, and they would, like, execute a concept. It wasn't like Alani Taylor, BURGHALIE, Versace, like a designer.
Design.
Yeah, it was like them getting clothes from the store. So I was like, there are no designers here, like, making their own stuff and having shows. So I was like, maybe I could do, what they're doing, but for my own brand. And then that was when we did the first show. And a lot of their models were a part of that show, and they actually helped carry my brand to like what it is today, because when they did it, they saw like, how big it was, and it was different because they're actually walking for a designer versus like getting clothes from like H&M or something and putting a concept together. So
I didn't know you could legally do that. Like you could use H&M stuff and
I think
create
since
a
it's
show.
a student organization, it's
okay,
like just for entertainment versus like, they're not saying like this is ours. It's just more so like it's our show, but not for entertainment, not for like, and that was the first one. And then after that, I just kept doing it. And then we moved here, and we did the BURGHALIE Resort. And that one I actually was like in the hole, because it was like, I think I only made like $14,000, but I had, I made like 10,000, but there was 14,000 in expenses. So I was like negative $4,000.
Okay, you glazing over this. We got to paint a picture.
Wait, so what you?
I'm gonna get you.
Okay.
The elements that go into putting a fashion show together. What do they look like? Like, we know clothes are there. We know you got to have the facility.
Yeah.
But what other stuff, and this is for people that might be considering this kind of stuff, what other stuff goes into putting together a successful fashion show outside of the norm?
Yeah.
We know clothes. We know you got to have a building. We know you got to have some ambiance. But what else happens behind the scenes? Are you paying models?
Yeah.
What else goes into it?
Yeah, so some people pay models, some people don't. We pay our models for the show.
Is there a going rate? Like, what is a model expecting to walk in the show? Like $20 and a McDonald's meal for people that are just starting? Like, what are we? I mean, this is Atlanta, so finding people to do stuff free, honestly, is not hard in media.
Yeah, it really depends. Like you said, this is Atlanta, so everybody is doing stuff for free. But I decided to like try to find a way to compensate the models too.
You're very nice. I just want to put you're very nice.
Oh, thank you. So we give them a portion of ticket sales.
Really?
Yeah.
You're very generous. You're very generous.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got ticket sales.
Yeah, so ticket sales. As far as like, of course, like publicity, like PR, I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of people don't take serious, or like marketing and PR, having like a designated person who's going to increase awareness, because Instagram and stuff like that is only going to do so much. So like hiring someone who can actually put you in spaces to. So
did you hire a firm or like a PR person?
I hired Kai.
We talking about
You talking about before her?
Yeah, like pre-Kai. Like how was you doing it?
No, I didn't. It was really just the models were. I really rely heavily on the models, and that's why I had the utmost respect and treated them the way I treated them, because like without them, I really couldn't do what I was doing.
So how many models did you have in your first show?
In Tallahassee or Atlanta?
Whichever one made the money.
Oh, that show has 75 models.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Where'd you do it at? That's a lot of models.
The Biltmore? No. The City Hall.
City Hall?
Yeah, Atlanta City Hall. He's like, I'm coming. It was like, I'm here. Gotta come with a bang. Where else to do it?
I mean, you can't just get City Hall. Like, how did you pull that off?
So through Murph, I was able to meet Bentley. And Bentley, I don't know what, he has a lot of jobs, but he knows everybody. I don't know. But he was connected with someone at the city hall, and he was able to get us the city hall for the fashion show. And it was really dope. Like, everybody loved it. It wasn't traditional. Like, it's like upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. I was like, is that City Hall? I was like, wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's fast forward to the nonprofit. How did we get in that space? How did that happen? I mean, I know it was a passion of yours, but like, how did you decide? Because you have like 3 elements in your nonprofit. State what those are first, and then how that happened.
So basically with the BURGHALIE Academy, we're like advocating for under-resourced communities in general by providing access to education, youth development opportunities, and healthy alternatives to behavioral challenges in the forms of art and fashion. So this came about because, like I said, originally when we started BURGHALIE, it was an organization, like it was a nonprofit. And I just felt like everybody doesn't like to play football, basketball.
Especially black males. I say this all the time.
Yeah,
Not all of us
everybody.
are even though.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
Like, I want to say 6 foot, but I'm 5'11".
Yeah, you could be an athlete or something like that. Me, I'm like 5'7". It's never was going to happen for me. If I throw a ball, it's not landing in a net. So I'm very adamant about that. Not all black males are athletic. Because God knows I'm not. So I get it.
Yeah. So for those people, like, and then I've realized that I was always told like the empty mind is the devil's playpen. So as long as you don't really have a passion or something that you could put your energy into, you're gonna feed it into something that isn't gonna really be beneficial. So I was like, okay, some people like art, some people like fashion, some people like sewing, photography, videography. So let's create a space where these people can have that outlet to actually practice those things and stay out of trouble. So that was essentially where that came from and that idea.
So do you do like summer programs during the summer, things like that? Like, what do you have this year? Anything on the calendar this year for people who are looking for some place to put their... Actually, what age group do you typically deal with? Are we talking about teenagers, young adults? What age group is your niche?
Teenagers and young adults. Because we like emphasize like the prevention of like recidivism and like homelessness and delinquency in general. So that's usually like teenagers and young adults, because now that you're in the world and you're an adult, you feel like, oh, I'm grown, I could do whatever, but you don't understand the consequences that come with
This is very true.
those actions.
This is very true. Actually, I was impressed that you knew recidivism, because most people don't even know what that means. And the only reason I honestly do is because I have a guy that comes on the show and talks about it, so I'm not even going to front. I would have never known what that was if it wasn't for David. So I was really impressed you know that. So for the summer, anything interesting happening for the summer?
So we're actually going to be doing like a model camp, essentially, for young aspiring models as well as young designers. So it will be similar to the competition that we're doing in April, but more geared towards high school students and like young adults.
All right, so this is the rapid fire segment where I shoot off questions about modeling that I've just been wondering for decades.
Okay.
You ready?
I hope so.
Number one. So this male model thing has become a thing, because I think the world has only known one major male model, Tyson.
Tyson, yeah.
What do people look for in a male model? Because I've heard numerous things, like you can't be a Jonathan Majors, but you also can't be a Chris Brown, like really skinny. So what do they look for in a male model?
I feel like now with the direction that fashion and modeling is going, it can be anything. Because every business is now trying to be inclusive and diverse and all this. So everybody wants representation. So I feel like when there was like Tyson, when he was the standard, like everybody, I mean, you had to like, kind of like
model after
Yeah.
Tyson.
But now you have like models like Alton Mason, he's like slim built like me, but he doesn't look as, I don't want to say masculine, but he has like, not gender fluent features, but very like, I don't know how to explain.
In between, like,
yeah, like
features,
in between,
so
yeah.
Female-ish and male-ish at the same time.
But he's not like non-binary or anything. He just has like, I don't know, his face is just like, but he's like one of the biggest male models right now. He's worked with like Naomi Campbell and a bunch of other people. So I just feel like it's really what the brand is looking for, honestly, in my opinion.
Short people too?
I like short models.
Look, whatever you tell me, I'm going to take and
Yeah.
run with it. So if you tell me short people are in, I'm going to try to become a model tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm just
no,
telling you.
I feel like it depends on who you go to, honestly, because even like this girl, female model that I know, Avita, she's short, but she is gorgeous and she kills it like every time. She complains to me all the time. She's like, oh, I'm like 5'2". I'm like, she is so dope, but I work with her because I still like her. She's still gonna sell the clothes, but others will be like, oh, she's too short. I don't think so. So I think it depends on the brand.
Because, in the old days, if you just couldn't be like a runway model, you could be a hand model. I think I have very pretty hands. So I was thinking about being a hand model. But
Okay.
you're telling me
Yeah.
that I have the ability to might be a model that I'm going to try tomorrow.
I feel like you should.
Okay, Kyle, you heard that right. So if it doesn't happen, I'm coming back for him. Because I can get to him through you. Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, number 2, plus size models. Is that a thing?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm telling you, like now I feel like everybody, I don't know if you saw, but Victoria's Secret fashion show like stopped roughly like 3 or 4 years ago because they were perpetuating this idea of like a beauty standard of like the blonde, thin, white woman. If it's a black woman, she's of lighter color. Maybe she could be white. But they were like beating this idea into everybody's head. But then Rihanna came with like the Savage Fenty shows where she has like plus size models. She
Older
has
women.
like non-binary models. She has like men and women and all this other stuff. And she's kind of been running the fashion shows right now. Everybody looking for the Fashion Fenty shows to come every year or every season. So I feel like with her doing that, Victoria's Secret just recently announced that they're going to be relaunching their Victoria's Secret fashion shows, but they're going to be more inclusive and more diverse.
I'll pay good money to see this.
Yeah. So,
Good money.
So, yeah, I feel like it's definitely a thing. And with the dynamic and just how, like, I don't want to say sensitive, but maybe more so emotionally aware that society is right now, it's good to include representation of every person. So... And plus, I would do it.
Do what?
I would like cast a plus size model in
Have
like
you?
an advertisement. I haven't because I haven't actually made the clothes because everything that I make I could wear. So, and I don't really, I can make women's clothes, but I haven't really like specialized in it because it's just so many curves and everything. It's like, it's a lot. I don't have all that, you know? So I can't throw that on, but yeah, I would definitely do it.
All right, so you've been to Fashion Week before.
Mm-hmm.
What are 2 things you did not know that you were going to encounter when you got to Fashion Week? The biggest surprises when you got to Fashion Week, outside of being at Fashion Week.
The biggest surprises, I would say, is it was hot backstage. It was real.
It's like 100 people. How'd you not account for this? Like
I thought they would at least have some good AC. They make all this money. That was the biggest thing for me. It was hot. Like, I was like, dang, like we came all the way up here for New York Fashion Week. We ain't got no AC. Like the models sweating. I'm like fanning my models with a piece of cardboard. So that was a big shock to me. I think the second thing was when I was around other designers, I just felt inspired, like creatively. I was kind of not getting self-conscious, but I was like comparing my designs to other people's, not in the sense of like, oh, what's better or like mine is bad or theirs is good, but more so like, oh, like that was creative. Like maybe I could have took this approach instead of like what I did. So I would say I didn't expect to be so inspired by all of the fashion that I was seeing and the creativity of the different artists. It really opened my mind to seeing like designing from a different perspective. I did not expect to see like the designs that I saw.
How was the interaction with other designers? Were they forthcoming? Did y'all have like conversation? They were just like, stay out of my space. This is my space. Yours over there. What was it like, the interaction like?
Surprisingly, most of the designers that I met were pretty cool. Like even Ian Alexander, he's a celebrity designer now, but I met him at New York Fashion Week and he was like really dope. And he walked in that show that I was referring to at the City Hall, and I made that connection at New York Fashion Week. So I feel like everybody was cool. People say New Yorkers are rude. And
that has never been my experience either. Like
I haven't really encountered like rude New Yorkers or people in New York. When I was there, it was a vibe. Like I liked it a lot.
It's a stereotype. People should really stop doing it. It's a stereotype. How do people get in touch with you?
So people can follow my personal Instagram at I am Rashaad. or our brand page at BURGHALIE. That's BURGHALIE. They can check out our website. That's www.burghalie.com, or our nonprofit site, which is www.burghalieacademy.org.
Final thoughts. Anything you want to leave with the people?
Final thoughts, honestly.
We're getting prompts from the right from PR. So your fashion show.
Yeah. So final thoughts. We do have a fashion show coming up in April 6th. I'm not presenting for the first time. This is the first show I'm having where I'm just creative directing. So
I mean, is that really? Can you really breathe? Because that means you're like.
It's a little less.
Everything else.
A little less. So
I want to talk to you after this fashion show. I don't feel like that's going to be the case. I don't feel like that's going to be the case, but okay.
So we have a fashion competition coming up on April 6th. It's really, again, like I said, about providing funding for aspiring designers and an opportunity for aspiring models to be featured in a billboard ad. So this whole time we've been filming for a TV series that we're working on.
What's it called?
I can't formally say that yet.
Oh, then
I don't think it's copyrighted yet.
Oh, then no. I thought you already had it. All right, don't.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we've been filming, and like the models have been meeting every week to do like different challenges, similar to like America's Next Top Model.
America's Next Top Model.
Yeah, but like a newer.
So you have a panel. You have a panel that judges and stuff?
Yeah. We have a panel every week, and then for the fashion show, we have some celebrity like stylists and photographers and different industry professionals coming in to do the final judgment at the fashion show.
So who's in essence, who's the host? We got a host? Like we got a celebrity host? Or are you doing it?
No, I'm actually, I'm not going to host. The host hasn't been confirmed. That's still, like, the contract hasn't been solidified. But as far as, like, the celebrity judges, we have Zoe Dupree. He is a stylist for Lil Key. He's a rapper. I'm not sure if you know him.
I don't.
I don't. We have D. Rushing. He's a celebrity stylist. He styles, like, the City Girls, Jada and Ari Fletcher, just a lot of the Atlanta influencers and people like that. We have Chad Lawson, who is a celebrity photographer. We have Devonna, who's a runway coach. She has actually trained P. Diddy's twins and stuff like that. And then we have Alima with AI Model Management, because they're competing for a contract with the agency too. So
okay, look at you.
I'll be trying to help the people out. You know?
Listen, I love every minute of it. Because you know that America's Next Top Model is under scrutiny, which I find amazing that you're scrutinizing a show that's like 20 years old. Yeah. And now we're talking about, oh, well, if it was this, it was that. The show is not even in operation anymore.
The climate was different then.
Literally, like, Tyra was groundbreaking. Yeah, she did some things. Now we're just like, girl, you got away with that? But it's 20 years later. Like, this is not what we should be doing.
Yeah.
All right. So in any event, we want to say thank you to our very special guest today, Mr. Rashaad Smith. And definitely look for his line. Definitely check him out. Definitely follow him, because I'm going to be doing some things, because I'm very interested. Especially this whole America's Next Top Model-ish thing. So I'm very interested. So I might pop my head in every now and then. But we will see you guys same place, same time on Blend Blazers Podcast with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. Okay.
Boom. That was fun.